Even tighten it high enough?
No, I just lifted up the skirt.
Oh, I see.
Part of it.
Hi there and welcome to my channel. I'm Jennifer and I've got Maria in the kitchen with me today too. We are going to start in on a week of meals, maybe breakfasts, maybe lunches, maybe suppers. I don't really know, but we're getting started today with making Hawaiian burgers. So I am still relishing, is that the word? Reveling? I can't think of what the right word is right now, but anyway, I am still just enjoying the after effects of being in Florida. And when I ran across this recipe for Hawaiian burgers, it just made me think of heat and warm and all the things, just summery. And so I wanted to give these burgers a try. This is actually a Pioneer Woman recipe. I will link to her recipe in the description box below. What we're going to do is we're going to mix a ½ cup of mayo and 2 tablespoons of teriyaki sauce and 1 tablespoon of honey and just a little bit of cayenne pepper. We're going to mix that up and then I'm just going to let this, I'm going to set this aside until it's time to make the burger patties.
I got it out.
You did?
Huh? It was really weird, but I did it.
Okay. Never seen anybody do it that way, but that's okay. Uh-oh. I feel like you're going to get a big blop of it out. You can use the whisk if you need to. I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of teriyaki sauce.
It looks like ice cream with chocolate sauce.
Ugh. So I'm not going to measure the honey. I am just going to,
Yuck.
That looks like a tablespoon.
This looks disgusting.
It's not really my normal kind of flavorings or sauce, is it?
Not at all. See how gross that looks. A dash.
Well, let's see. You have to unscrew that, honey. Very level, because we don't want a lot. I'm also going to prepare the pepper right now, which is just a red pepper, and I'm going to get this sliced into rings. It is time to sharpen my knife.
Fishing every day.
Hunting, fishing every day. Oop. Shoot, I broke the ring. The goal here is to get these cut without breaking them. There we go. All right, well, my red onion didn't slice into perfect rings like I had hoped, but you know what? It's still going to taste good on the burgers. It is going to be a little bit, I'm still waiting for my venison to completely thaw because there's no point in trying to shape hamburger patties if the meat is still a little bit frozen. So I actually now brought it to the sink over there and I just have it resting there hoping that it would continue to thaw. One thing I have to say is that when we were in Florida, I know I'm going to talk about Florida a lot now. When we were in Florida, we had butter sitting out on a plate and it was just always soft. It didn't matter what temperature the condo was at, but it was always soft. We come home, I was trying to butter the bread for grilled cheese yesterday, and the butter at room temperature here is rock solid. Rock solid butter sitting on the counter. Anyway, that's just another one of those little things that makes Florida so nice. I also wanted to show you what I was going to be doing for dessert tonight. I'm making an angel food cake. This really is for Warren. He celebrated his birthday on our drive to Florida, and so his birthday was, I mean, we tried to make it as fun as we could, but he didn't have a cake, and his favorite is angel food. So I made an angel food cake, and you guys, it's from a box. I'm pretty sure that I shared this story before, but when Warren and I were first married, and he had mentioned that his favorite cake was angel food, and I was looking up in the Betty Crocker cookbook, like the old, I don't know when it was from, like the 50s or something, Betty Crocker cookbook, and I looked up angel food cake, and it talked about separating the eggs, and you needed, I think, 12 egg whites, and you needed to whip them till they were fluffy. You needed to do this and that and this and that and cream of tartar, and oh my goodness. I mean, I was like 23 at the time, or 24. Was I 24 when, I think I was 24 when we got married. and I was 24 years old. And there was just a whole lot I didn't know when it came to making from scratch food in the kitchen. So I called up his mom and I was just like, okay, what recipe do you use? Because I thought for sure, if this is his favorite cake, she probably has a certain recipe that she goes to year after year, right? It's probably like the easy version. And she was like, just go to the store and get a box mix. That's what I do. And I was like, I hadn't even thought of that. It like hadn't even crossed my mind that there was such a thing as an angel food box mix. I didn't grow up eating angel food cake. It just wasn't really a thing. Every once in a while, my mom would get little circular sponge cakes for specifically putting strawberries and whipped cream on for making like strawberry shortcake. But the whole angel food cake thing was just lost on me. Basically, it still is. But I've been making angel food cakes for Warren, and now many of my kids like it too. Peter's favorite cake is angel food. I feel like, no, not Emily's, not Nick, not Amber. Sam likes angel food. Peter likes angel food. I'm pretty sure Maria does. Joe kind of does. So anyway, making angel food cakes from a box mix for many, many years. And since I'm in the kitchen, I thought I would put together some chicken noodle soup. So before we went to Florida, I had made something with chicken, but I didn't need all of it. Oh, I made the chicken bacon ranch sandwiches. And I didn't eat all the chicken, so then like the night before we went to Florida, I just put the remaining chicken, the raw chicken, they were leg quarters. I put those into the Instant Pot, cooked them down, and then I put the juice and the chicken all into a freezer container, stuck it in the freezer because I didn't want it to go to waste while we were gone. I knew Sam wasn't gonna bake up chicken legs or chicken leg quarters. So I have that. So I also have that in the sink next to the venison, and I have that thawing. I'm just looking for it to get kind of like icy and crystally, just enough for me to put it all into a big pot, add a bunch of water. I'm gonna add bouillon seasoning, like better than bouillon, in a little jar. I'm gonna add that seasoning. I'm gonna see, I think I have some chicken stock as well in the freezer, a jar in the freezer, so I'm gonna pull that out, get that thawing. And basically, I'm just trying to make a giant pot of chicken noodle soup. I want to take some of it to some friends and then keep some of it for us for tomorrow night's supper. So I already have the carrots peeled. I'm going to get these carrots chopped up, and I don't have any celery. I thought I did, and I don't. So I think it's just going to be like carrots and onions, and I'll probably throw in, if I have some frozen green beans, I might throw in something like that, or it might just be basically chicken and noodles with a couple little carrots. I'll have to see how it all turns out. Chicken noodle soup is so forgiving because you can put in whatever. You can make it just chicken and noodles with the stock and the beef bouillon, or the chicken bouillon. You can add vegetables. You can add egg noodle pasta, you can add dumplings, you can add rice, wild rice, white rice, jasmine, really whatever kind of like noodly pasta carb kind of thing that you like to add to chicken soup. It's just so easy, and once you get down a system, you can just use what you have in the house. If you want yours to be a little creamier, you could always add a can of cream of chicken soup. That will kind of creamy up your soup. I got an onion cut up as well for the soup, and I decided I'm just doing carrots and onions in the soup with really, really good high quality egg noodles and chicken. That's going to be the soup. It's going to be very simple, but it's going to be quite kid friendly too. I also decided that since I'm in the kitchen right now and the meat is not completely thawed, and I do have some laundry that I have to go do, I thought, you know what, I might as well just get my lettuce ready. I'm gonna just hack this, honestly, just like this. Ready? I know I did that on my cupboard, and it sounded very loud, but I really didn't have much pressure on there at all. I'm gonna rinse all of these lettuce leaves here, and then I'm going to lay them out on some paper towel, let them dry, so those are ready for the burgers tonight. So the chicken thawed just enough to dump the whole chunk, kind of the remaining frozen part, all into this pot, and I just filled it with a whole lot of water. I'm just bringing that to basically just trying to warm it up so I can I'm going to take the chicken out and I will pull it off the bones. I know it seems kind of tedious and everything, but when you're using chicken on the bone, that is just kind of what has to happen. While that's warming up, I have 1.5 cups of Crisco in my KitchenAid mixer here. I am going to be making birthday cake frosting. This is a recipe I got from a friend after she gave us some, I think Nick went to a birthday party for her son and brought home some of the leftover birthday cake, and the frosting was so delicious that I asked her for the recipe, and she had actually gotten it from another friend. So it's just one of those recipes that gets passed around. It's absolutely delicious, but you really do have to follow the directions. So 1.5 cups of Crisco and 1/2 cup of butter I'm going to put into my KitchenAid, and I am literally going to set the timer for 5 minutes and whip it on high. That is how you ensure that it actually gets really fluffy. All right, the meat, I think, is finally thawed. Oh, it still feels a little frozen in the middle. Go. I'm going to just go for it. So what I like to do is I like to look at the package of venison here, and this is 1.5 pounds, and I want these to be, let's go 1/4 pound burgers. So I need to cut this into 6 equal pieces. Yeah, a little bit of frozen still. And then I have a patty press here. This is the one I've had for a long time. I've got it at Cabela's. I know they sell the same one at Amazon. I'll have it linked if you're interested. And then I also use these patty papers. They're just pre-cut and they're so easy. I bought this box of 1,000. I don't even know how long ago. And look at how many I still have. I probably have 500 left still. So they last a long, long time. And I'm pretty stingy with them. Like, I'll put one on top, but then I'll reuse the top one and just lift the burger over onto a baking sheet. Since I already have the other flavors going for these burgers, I'm just going to salt and pepper them. Nothing fancy. And there's my pressed patty. I'm just going to set that over here on a baking sheet. I will pile them all up, and then I'm hoping that when Warren gets back in from ice fishing that he will grill these. All right, I just got all of the meat pulled off of the bone. And it was really, really nice to warm it back up because it literally just kind of slipped off the bone. I could put into my crock pot. I'm still unsure if I'm going to do that and cook all of that down. I probably will because it just pains me to throw that away. I do have a Ziploc bag of some vegetable scraps that I'll throw in with that into the crock pot with a bay leaf or 2. A good amount of pepper and salt, and cook all of that down to make some more broth. And then maybe later this week I could make something like creamed chicken. That sounds delicious with that chicken stock. That would be delicious. Oh, I see a piece of chicken right there. I need to move over here. Now in here, whoo, okay, that was hot. So I'm just going to get the chicken into here. And we're just going to kind of let this simmer away. And I haven't added the seasonings yet to it, so I do need to do that too. And these are the Kluski noodles that I'm going to use, old-fashioned Kluski noodles. They're just kind of a little bit of a heftier egg noodle. My grandma always used, you know, Kluski, not necessarily this brand, but whatever brand it was that she used, she would always use that in chicken noodle soup, and I do love a good Kluski noodle. Okay, I'll just bring this up to a boil. It won't take too long. I'm also going to add the seasonings as the noodles cook. This is the Better Than Bouillon. They have a lot of flavors. I mean, it used to be when I would go to the grocery store, they only had chicken and beef, and now they have pork and vegetable, and they now have like a roasted chicken, I think. I don't think this is the roasted. Well, this does say seasoned roasted. But they just have a lot of different flavors now, and it is so, so good. It's just like a creamy soup base, delicious. It's sometimes hard for me to film when I'm making like chicken noodle soup because I'm constantly tasting it and deciding what flavors I'm looking for more of. So I used all that I could get out of the Better Than Bouillon jar, and then it just didn't quite have quite enough flavor, so I did put in a teaspoon of salt. I added a whole lot of ground black pepper. Warren tasted it. He's like, it could use a little more black pepper. Then I found that I had just a smidge of this left, so I added probably another tablespoon or so of the Knorr chicken seasoning. And then I went into my spice drawer and I added some turmeric here, just a sprinkling, and I added just a sprinkling of celery seed. I mean, literally just a sprinkling, a tiny little sprinkling. Then I stirred it all up again, tasted it again, and I think it's finally just right. Now, we're not going to eat this tonight, so it will have plenty of time to just kind of, you know, the flavors to go throughout. And, oh, I don't really know what that word is, but, you know, it just kind of needs to settle in a little bit. The salt and everything needs to settle in. And then you taste it again and you see, does it need a little more salt and pepper? And if it does, add some salt and pepper. Warren came back in from ice fishing and he grilled up the peppers and the pineapple. This was just what I was hoping it was going to do, is get just a tad bit blackened. Whoa! And there come the burgers. Those look delicious. Are there more?
There's more.
Oh my gosh.
I have to do more.
Okay. Well, yay for all of us. I didn't burn the buns. I was watching a Mandy in the Making video today, and she was just commenting how, you know, dinner's not done until you burn the bread. And I was like, yes, amen, sister, because I totally get that. And Warren came in, and I was telling him, and he's like, yep, been there, ate that. And that is the truth. Does that happen to you guys too? You're just like, this is the night that I'm going to sit here and I'm going to babysit the broiler, and then all of a sudden you're like, I should just go and switch over the laundry quick, and then burnt. So let me know in the comments below if that's something that you do, like on the regular. Okay, so Warren is still grilling, but I did want to just show you guys how this burger is supposed to be put together. I'm not sure if all of the kids are actually going to do it like this. Okay, so here's the sauce from earlier today. Oh no. You're supposed to kind of smear it on there. Put on a hamburger patty with whatever kind of cheese you like. A grilled pepper. A grilled pineapple. I'm actually doing 2 peppers because I love red pepper. Some lettuce. A red onion. A tiny bit more sauce. And then like that. And look at that burger. I hope the sauce tastes good. I hope that this is delicious. We will let you know. So since these burgers, I don't know if I would say they're putsy, but they just had more ingredients and things to do, we decided we're just doing burgers and applesauce for supper tonight. So here's what the burgers are looking like. Nice. Adding some onions. Maria, what did you add to your burger?
Burger, lettuce, and ketchup.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm going to add extra cheese. I put sauce on the top bun so it can soak in.
Kind of soak in. Yep, that's actually what it said in the directions, but I just didn't get to that part.
Cheese. And then I am putting everything on.
Everything.
Everything.
It seems like a weird concoction, but I don't know. There was something about coming home from Florida and I saw the word Hawaiian burger. I was like, I'm all in. You want some mustard, Joe?
You know, the funny thing is, 3 days ago I was sitting on the beach and it was almost 80. And today I went ice fishing.
Yeah. And it's snowing.
Yes.
tonight for supper we're going to be having chicken fried rice and then probably some sort of fruit. I see that I have some cuties, I have some oranges, I have apples, I have applesauce, I have some canned fruit. So that is going to be our supper tonight. What I have going here, I have this great big cast iron. This is a 12+ inch size cast iron, and I have some oil in there. I'm just letting it get nice and hot. Yeah, it feels pretty hot. And I'm going to pour in 2 cups of rice, and I'm going to let this brown. It's going to take some time. You kind of want your heat to be medium-ish to high, I guess, depending on your stove. If your stove runs a little cool, I would crank it up a little. I have mine here set to around medium, and it takes a little time to really brown the rice, but that's like one of the keys to chicken fried rice, I think, is to brown that rice. It just adds a lot of really good flavor to it. I have another skillet waiting over there because I picked this chicken up the other day at Aldi. They had the $2 off stickers on it, and so I'm just going to get this opened and put some oil in that pan, quick fry up all of my chicken, and then I'm going to add the soy sauce and the salt to it. Now I just want to show you the recipe here. So this is the recipe. It's in cookbook 1. It actually calls to start with cooked chicken and then soak the already cooked chicken in soy sauce and I think some salt. I thought I was supposed to use some salt. And I normally do it that way. It's just today I'm starting with this raw chicken, so I'm just going to quick cook it up as the rice is going. And then I can just kind of be doing 2 things at once here. Then I will combine everything at the end, just the way the recipe calls for. So at this point now, my rice is all nicely browned here. It's really golden brown. Whoops, I just dropped a few grains of rice. What I need to do is add 5 cups. I'm doubling my recipe, so I'm adding 5 cups of chicken broth. Now you can just use it from a box, from a can, whatever you might have. If you have home canned stuff. I just made some bone broth the other day, so what I'm going to do is use 5 cups of this. It's going to need some salt and pepper to bring out the flavors, so I'm going to pour that in. I'm going to put in a little onion, a little bit of green pepper. I don't have celery, so unfortunately I won't be able to put that in, and I'm going to cover it and let this simmer away for about 20 to 25 minutes. At this point the chicken is completely done, so I'm just going to pour over some soy sauce and let that kind of seep into the meat. This is hard. These strips of meat were a little bit bigger and thicker than I thought they were going to be, so I'm just going to quick chop this up as I put them in. This is kind of tedious, but I really don't want the really big strips of chicken in here.
What vegetables?
There's a little bit of onion and a little bit of green pepper. So once all of the liquid, the chicken stock, is absorbed into the rice and you've added your chicken in, it's time to put in some whisked egg. So I like to just move everything over, dump it into one side, and just cook it until it just starts to set up, because I want it to look a little bit like scrambled eggs, and then I will mix it into the rest of that. As soon as that's done, then I'm going to put in my lettuce here. For a double recipe, I really only need 2 cups of lettuce. This is way more. This is probably like 4 cups of lettuce, but I think I'm going to add it all just because we like it with the lettuce. I mean, at least I know I do. No one's ever complained when I put extra in, and it really bulks it up a lot. I doubled this because I know Sam really loves this, and I know that he's probably going to like to take some of this to lunch with him to work. So I'm going to move my pan over a little. Hi, Joe. so that the flame is right under the egg. Okay, the egg is starting to set up, so I'm just going to kind of flip it a little bit. And it needs to set up a little more than this before I want to mix it in with the rest of the rice. And then this pan, whew, that looks bad, but that's actually going to come off really, really easily. It's pretty much just the soy sauce when the pan was hot. So I'm going to get that one soaking. That is the key to keeping your kids happy when they have to do dishes, is soaking things ahead of time. Okay, the egg is perfect now. And my battery is about to die, so we'll see how far I get with mixing this in for you guys. I mean, but you get the picture, right? You just stir it around. I'm actually going to turn the heat off now. And if you really like a lot of egg bits, I mean, feel free to use more egg. Sometimes when I'm only making a single recipe, I'll even use 4 eggs. If I have them on hand. Right now, that's like adding another $10 to your meal, though. And then watch this. Just going to plop all the lettuce right on top. And then I'm going to cover this. And I'm going to let that lettuce wilt down. And I made it. My battery didn't die out. And Warren took the kids down to the basement to play some pool. I'm going to replace my battery so that when we serve up, you guys can see how it's served up. And I hope you guys are enjoying these Meals of the Week videos. If there is ever something that you're kind of like, boy, I'd really like maybe to see Jennifer, or I've been referred to as the Cranberry Lady at times. If there's anything you'd like to see me make, whether it's from one of my cookbooks or a cookbook that I have like recommended, or I have used and you haven't seen me use it in a while, or just something random, throw it in the comments below and maybe I'll give it a try. And I forgot to mention this, but I did make up a few of the mozzarella sticks, so I have those in here, and that's just so easy to do in the air fryer. And this looks very tiny, but I cut up a bowl of fruit. I have 2 cuties under there, a tangelo and an apple, and I'm also going to put out some applesauce as well.
Hey!
Yeah, Joe, 2 or 3 is plenty, okay? Today I'm going to be sharing a lunch meal with you all. I have a bag of, I should bring those up so that I could put those into the video here. I have a bag of Tyson chicken patties. I'm going to make those in my air fryer, and we're just going to have what I call chicken patty salads. So I just washed up a whole bunch of lettuce here. This is a mix of iceberg and romaine. I have 1 yellow pepper, a carrot, and a cucumber. I'm going to get all of those veggies chopped up in the salad. I have croutons, I have ranch dressing, I have cottage cheese, and that's going to be our lunch today. Super easy, filling, but yet also refreshing with the salad. Well, good morning. I am back into the kitchen and I'm getting a few things ready here for this weekend. I just took out about 4 pounds of venison burger and I have that thawing. Actually, you know where it is? It's in a Rubbermaid container sitting over in front of our little electric fireplace because I really want that to thaw pretty quick here. And I've done that before and it does actually thaw quickly. Okay, so tonight for supper we're going to be doing hamburgers. Yum. We did hamburgers. Yum. We did hamburgers last Saturday night. I made the Hawaiian burgers. Here it is already Saturday again. I thought I just want to do burgers again. So I'm going to basically do the same thing I did last weekend. Thaw the meat, form it into patties using my hamburger press. and we're gonna do whiskey burgers tonight. So I do have to get some onion chopped up for that. I'd like to get that kind of like ready to go here, but I also have plans to make some soup for tomorrow night's supper. Well, honestly, I shouldn't say it's for tomorrow's supper. I don't know. It's gonna be lunch, supper, sometime tomorrow. I'm going to do the Crockpot beef vegetable soup. I haven't made this in a while and I really like it. This is in cookbook 2. Here's what I have. I have this package of soup bones, which I just started opening, and I'm gonna have to run it under cold water to get this like cellophane wrap off of it, but it's 2 very meaty soup bones. And then I do have this package of venison stew. I might run back down and see if I can find a little smaller package. No, everybody would like a meaty soup, so I'm just gonna go with this. And this is rock solid. Basically, all I'm gonna do is get the wrappers off of these, and I'm gonna plop it into my crock pot. Now, if I was starting with thawed meat, I would put all of these ingredients in there at one time, let it go for 8 to, even better, 10 hours. These out, pick off all this meat, and discard the bone. But since my meat is frozen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way to the salt. I'm going to put the soup bones, the stewing venison, the cold water, and the salt. I'm going to put that all into the crock pot. I'm going to let that go for probably 5 hours. Then I'm going to add the remaining ingredients, and I'm going to let that go for the full 10 hours. Because this is frozen, it's just going to need a lot extra time, and that's why I wanted to start it here this morning, so it can go all the way probably until bedtime, and then I can turn it on tomorrow. I can get it going for, put it back on low for a few more hours or until we want to eat. Soup is so easy that way. Now I'm hoping, this is a 7.5 quart crock, so I'm thinking what I'm going to do is actually double the recipe, since I really only need about 2.5 total pounds, and I have 1 3/4, and this is definitely another pound, so I have like 2 3/4 pounds instead of 2.5. So I guess I don't necessarily need to double it, but I feel like I'm going to need more than 1.5 quarts of water. Maybe I'll 1.5 it today. All right, it appears it's going to take some time to get these 2 apart. I just am running cold water over them, and hopefully that's going to get down into that crack there so I can get those apart and peel off that like plastic or whatever this is, kind of like a little cellophane paper. Next up, I'm going to make the blueberry banana snack cake. Look at those bananas. They need to go into something, and this basically is just a blueberry banana muffin, and I'm just following the recipe, you guys. I have in here 1 1/4 cups of sugar. I'm going to put in 1/4 cup of buttermilk. If you don't have buttermilk, which I rarely have it, this is some vinegar. I prefer lemon juice, but I'm out right now. A little vinegar. Can I do this one-handed right here? I'm going to fill it up. I have whole milk actually today, which is really going to make for some nice buttermilk. Just going to let that, you might be able to see it. It's already kind of sort of curdling or something. So just give it a second. I'll pour that in. I'm going to put in some vanilla, 2/3 cup of melted butter, and 2 eggs. So that's 2 cups of flour, 1/8 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, And double check, we did sugar, buttermilk, vanilla, flour, salt, butter, eggs, bananas, baking soda. I'm actually not even going to mix the blueberries. I'm just going to fold them in. That seems to work best. If you mix too hard with like frozen blueberries, sometimes what happens is the blueberries start to kind of mush, and then it turns your batter sort of like a gray blue. Not real pretty. I just preheated the oven to 350 degrees. My grandkids really like the mini muffins, and so when I make muffins, I've been making some minis for them. Yeah. I have just a little bit of batter left, and it's just not worth it to pull out another muffin pan. So all I did was grease this little Pyrex dish, and I'm going to put the rest of it in here and make kind of like one little cake. I'm putting the muffins in at 350 degrees for probably, I'll check them after 15 minutes, see how they are. The little ones, I'll check them at 10. Can I fit this in here? Oh boy, this is gonna be tight. Off camera, I did put in, I finally got the beef soup bones thawed enough to peel off the paper. I just put those into the crock pot. I only need 3/4 cups of each of the vegetables, but I'm going a little bit heavier since I added a little more water. I still have not gotten to the grocery store to get celery, so we are going to be without celery in this soup. Since I started with that frozen meat, I had this on high for quite a while, and now I just came over, I had all the veggies cut up already, I dumped in the vegetables, I added in the pepper, and now I'm adding in a jar of diced tomatoes. It only needs a 16-ounce like can or jar, but guess what, that's 32 ounces, and that's fine. I'm just tasting it quick. Yeah, that's tasty. I'm not really sure what I showed here last. My camera card filled up, so I had to get another camera card in. But I have about 2.5 to 3 tablespoons of butter in here. We're making whiskey burgers for supper, or regular cheeseburgers, really whatever a person wants. This is 2 onions, 2 good-sized onions, and I'm just basically sauteing the onions. I want them to get a little bit golden. I don't want to open up the oven right now, but I do have about a dozen red potatoes. I just cubed those up, mixed them in with some olive oil, and then I think it's called Longhorn seasoning. Yes, it's called Longhorn Steakhouse seasoning. I either got that at like Dollar Tree or at Aldi, I'm sure. And there's so many out there, so basically just find your favorite steakhouse seasoning, season them up. There's also one that they sometimes have at, well, I call it $1.25 Tree now. They used to have it, and it was called French fry seasoning, and that was so good. Anyway, I just seasoned the potatoes with that. I didn't even add any extra pepper. Warren is grilling the burgers, and I wish that my card hadn't filled up, because Joe came over and he actually made all of, oh my gosh, is it windy? He made all of the burgers. This is your favorite kind of day to grill on, a windy day.
I'm loving this.
Yeah, I know. All the heat blows every which direction.
Yep.
Anyway, they still look delicious. So Warren is making up the burgers here. Okay, there's a bunch of excitement all of a sudden because there's a whole bunch of turkeys down on the cranberry marsh. Okay, so what I'll do here is I'm going to add in just a little bit of my canned jalapenos, and then barbecue sauce, and then some whiskey. Let the alcohol cook off, and then we'll top this on top of the cheeseburgers. Longhorn seasoning. Maybe if you wanted to put a little extra on your potatoes. Yeah, you can pick lettuce out of there. That's fine.
I'm just taking you for a loop.
Yes, I'm glad you like it, Joe. I'm glad.
Write it down.
Hot and hot.
Careful.
Hot and hot. Hot, hot.
So tonight for supper we're going to have this beef and venison vegetable soup. I made this yesterday. You guys saw the process of that. Yeah, it smells good. I tasted it. It tastes good for salt. And then we're also having some just buns. I buttered them and toasted them. I already put the other ones out by everybody's spot. And I had an extra one here. And that's going to be supper. I put out some crackers. It's just going to be a simple supper tonight. Is it on?
Okay, it's on. I'm recording. And you look
you see
fabulous.
Thanks. Can you see the food?
I can see the food and I can see you. You look blurry because I don't have my glasses on.
So what I have going for tonight's supper is basically just a sauteed sausage and veggies, and I'm going to make some rice to go with it. So I sauteed up, you can see I have just a variety of peppers, some pineapple, onions, and some celery in here. I guess you could just call this like a sausage stir fry. I'm going to move everything over. And then this is sausage. I really can't tell you what exact kind it is. It came from some of our friends that have their own steers and pigs. And so I don't know what it is. It smells good. It smells smoky. I'm just going to let that kind of brown. Let that go until it browns on one side, and then I'll come and I'll stir it up a little bit. I'm going to get the rice going next. Are you a little hungry today, Joe?
No.
You're not hungry?
Hey, yeah. Well,
That's a lot of food.
why? Like muffin night, like Sunday, I get my choice first, and I get my Noah.
Tomorrow night's movie night.
Tomorrow.
So today in the kitchen, I'm actually making tomorrow night's supper. We have a soup supper at church on Wednesday nights throughout Lent, and I signed up this week to bring, exactly what is the name? Chicken and wild rice soup. So let me just show you what I have going. I have this whole setup here because I really wanted to use the bone broth. Now, you don't have to. The recipe calls for just starting with water and using the chicken bouillon seasoning, and that produces a delicious soup. However, if you are cooking down your meat and you want to take the time to do this, it does result in some even more delicious soup. So I cooked down all of these chicken leg quarters. I have all of it here waiting to be pulled off the bone. Here's the pot of all of that like greasy, fatty stock. And then what I've been doing is just ladling about 2 cups into here. And then I go over and I work on my vegetables for a little bit, and I just let this separate. And sometimes you feel like you're not doing much because you're only separating off that like little 1/8 inch. This here, when I stick my finger into this broth that's left, and I lick my finger, it is not oily or greasy, but you can clearly see the difference. This is the fat that I have been dumping out. I strain it. So I'll show you what happens here. So it separates like that, the fat layer from just the broth or stock layer. And you get a little bit, see the little bit in the spout there. But then as you pour, you're pouring from the bottom. And then what happens is I just keep pouring. I'm trying to watch the camera and watch here. Keep pouring, and right there I saw that first bubble go. I'm going to bring it over here, pour the remainder into this cup over here, into this little pitcher, and then I just do that over and over and over and over. And I'm sure that there are faster ways. Sometimes if you chill it down and it gets really, really cold, you can skim off that top fat layer. That's happened before, but often with chicken, that doesn't work for me. Usually that works better for like a beef soup base. And then over here I have my carrots and celery. So with this particular soup recipe, which let me just show you here, this soup recipe. Here's the soup recipe that I'm making, but it doesn't want to focus. There we go, chicken and wild rice soup. And you're free to take a screenshot of this if you want to make this for yourself. Otherwise, this is in cookbook. This is in cookbook number 1. And so I'm going to be stripping off all the chicken off the bones. I'm going to cook up white rice and wild rice. I'll cook those up separately and then add those to the soup at the end. But with the carrots and celery, I like to run those through my food processor. It just gives the soup a little bit different texture and a little different look, and I like that for this recipe. You can start with 14 cups of water, or you can start with bone broth. Either is just fine. I will start with less of the chicken bouillon because I did add salt, peppercorns, and a couple bay leaves to the water when I was cooking down the chicken. So it does probably already have some flavoring, as well as the chicken flavoring. And pepper, and then you also make a little roux with some butter and flour to thicken it up just a little bit. This isn't a real thick soup. It's just sort of, I guess I would call it just barely creamy. Today I'm going to be using the Orrington Farms broth base and seasoning in the chicken flavor. I'm out of my Knorr. When I went to IGA yesterday, they didn't have Knorr seasoning, and I was looking at the different seasonings that they do have, and this was the only one that did not have MSG in it. I do believe that Knorr seasoning has MSG, but I just thought, let's go without the MSG. So I've used this before, at least the beef one, and it's very good. All right, it takes time for sure to make soup from the chicken on the bone and strain it and all of that. But here's my chicken stock, here's the fat, here's more fat and scraps, and here's all of the chicken taken off the bone. Forever and ever, I would always boil my chicken if I wanted to make something where I needed to take the chicken off the bone. And then Instant Pots became a thing, and I have used my Instant Pot on a number of occasions, but I always find that the meat comes off the bone better, at least for chicken, if I boil it, and then I bring the water to a boil, and then I simmer that chicken for a long time. This was a big 10-pound bag of chicken leg quarters. I probably had that simmering for a really long time, maybe 2 or 3 hours. Does that sound just crazy? But then the meat, it literally just falls off the bone. It's so easy to strip the meat off then. Okay, so what I have going now is I'm going to make the roux. So I have a half a cup of butter because remember I am doubling this recipe. Once this melts, I'm going to put in, it's going to take a little bit to melt that, but once it melts, I'm going to put in a half cup of flour and cook that until the flour starts to bubble so that I can get that. You want to really cook your flour so it doesn't have kind of a gluey consistency. Once I have that done, I'm going to measure in 28 cups of stock. If I don't have 28 cups in here, which I don't think I do, then I will add water to top it off, add in the ingredients, and let it simmer away. I added all of the water and stock, a half teaspoon of black pepper, and now I'm adding in the 3 tablespoons of chicken soup base. I'm going to start with the 3 tablespoons because like I said, I did already salt the water and pepper it and add a couple bay leaves, and at the very end I will test this all for flavoring, and I will either add more chicken soup base if it needs it, or just more salt or pepper, whatever I think it needs. At the very end I will then add that in. I'm going to add in the vegetables, which is just carrots and celery. I'm going to put a cover on this. Let's see, the cover is over there. I'm going to let this simmer until the vegetables are soft, and in the meantime what I'm going to do is cook up the rice. So just some regular white rice as well as wild rice, which I have to get out of the pantry. So I need 1 cup of each, actually 2 cups of each uncooked. I will put in the proper amounts of water. I know for white rice that that's going to be 4 cups of water. I don't know what it is for the wild rice until I look at the package, but I'm going to cook those up. And Once the vegetables are all soft, the rice should be done, and it'll be time to add in the chicken and the rice, check everything for flavoring. Then I'll just turn everything off, put the cover on, let it cool slightly, refrigerate it overnight, and then tomorrow is when we'll be serving this for supper at the church soup supper. So tonight Maria and I are having a super easy supper. That's it. Chicken nuggets. Just opened up a bag of frozen Tyson chicken nuggets, which they're really good. I did them in the air fryer, which is what I've been doing for a long time here now. But I didn't overdo that. Sometimes I kind of overdo them a little bit, don't I? And they get a little, like, too crunchy, maybe?
I think they're always great.
Oh, thank you, Maria. She's so good to me. We also made some cookies. So I have not baked. Well, I did last weekend. Didn't I bake, actually, on Saturday? I made banana blueberry snack cakes. So anyway, it just feels like it's been a long time since I've baked. And definitely something like this, like cookies. So we're just getting set up to work on a photo album tonight. The guys are at their movie night having pizza and 100 grand bars and chips and soda. A junk food night. Where did you go to?
I'm over here. I'm getting another chicken nugget.
And we're going to work on a photo album. So we've been working on a Shutterfly album. Actually, it's 2013, the year that Maria was born. And we think we're up to November. So hopefully we get that wrapped up here tonight. We can order it. Wouldn't that be fun?
I can't wait to see their pictures.
Finally have baby pictures of you in a photo album. So I think tonight is going to be the last meal for my meals of the week video. I feel like I have forgotten to film a lot. Yesterday I wanted to film the finished soup, which I guess I probably still could film a bowl of soup because there is a little bit of leftovers, but the soup was so delicious. Even Maria, she loved the fact that I chopped up the carrots and celery so tiny. And she's like, you need to do this all the time. So she actually ate her whole bowl, even the broth. Anyway, yeah, I just feel like I've forgotten to pick up the camera a lot, but usually when I pull up all the footage, then I realize, oh, I filmed more than I thought I did. But guess what we're doing tonight? You probably can tell we're outside. Where are they going for supper tonight? But this is what we're doing.
I need the real small branches.
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're going to have a wiener roast.
Can you hold this while I put up my chair? Because
Yep.
Peter
I
wants
mean, I know that
me to put branches in the pot.
you've probably been wanting to hit me on the side of the head for a while, but
Probably been wanting to do your dad in, but
you gotta do it. You gotta be a little more subtle.
yeah, don't do it on camera.
Yeah.
Branch,
You
and
know,
that whole branch had come down.
If you hit me in the head on camera, everyone's watching.
Okay, I'll move over this way because Peter says he's chopping a branch off.
Okay, guys, I was just telling Peter that when Uncle Rod and I were kids, well, actually, my dad started it by taking us out in the woods for a wiener roast, and he showed us how to start a fire with just a Kleenex and
Ow!
you pick the really small
I just like
pine branches
hook me
that
again.
are still on the tree because those are the dry ones.
Hook me.
In Girl Scouts, we called that Tinder.
So, okay. I call it Kleenex.
Kleenex.
Okay, Dad. Bumps away.
So,
Bumps away.
Uncle Rod
Okay,
and I used to do
Joe.
this every winter. We'd go out and we'd get into a stand of white pine where it was kind of secluded so the wind wasn't bothering you, and we would build a campfire and we'd bring out hot dogs or, you know, just whatever. And then growing up, you know, as a family, my folks always took us kids out in the woods for a wiener roast. That's what we always called it, was a wiener roast. And I loved wiener roasts. I thought
Roasted wieners.
they were a lot of fun.
And it's been a while since we've had one.
It has.
Here.
I mean, we've been having campfires by the house,
Here.
Yeah,
but to actually go out in the woods like this, we haven't done this in a long time.
it's been a long time. I remember with our older kids, we used to do this like twice a winter for sure.
Because it's free.
It's free. Yes, it is. Free fun is always a good thing.
Right.
See that pile?
Yep.
We finally got enough there. Let's see if I can get on one match.
You want me to put these sticks over here on this pile? So they're not right here. Stop.
I'm working on Karen's.
Oh shoot, that tipped over.
We'll see.
I bet you will.
I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe my wood's too
I don't know
big.
either.
It might catch. You gotta be ready to feed it some more, so.
Oh yeah,
I
it's
think it's gonna go.
I think it is. Look at that.
One match.
Oh, it smells so good.
Oh,
I know.
yeah.
Yeah, there's some littler ones right here.
Yeah, this is about as simple a fun as a guy can get.
Fire! Fire!
Alright, so now we can start putting all the big ones on.
So he does.
Yeah, oops.
We gotta have enough space for everyone to sit around and.
He like, those things like hit me.
The stick hit you?
Yeah, like hit me.
Build it by
Huh.
laying it on. Now we got a fire. Alright. Looking like a fire.
Yeah, fire!
Can we move the shovel so we can set a chair there?
Maria, are you hot right now?
Yeah. He's burning hot. I had a jacket on, so I took it off. And then I had a sweatshirt on, so I took it off. I'm so
Oh
hot.
my gosh!
Sure.
Yeah, look at this little
Mom.
Wisconsin girl.
Mom!
Feels great.
No,
It feels good, huh?
fire!
Well, I'm signing her up for the polar plunge next year.
Next year, polar plunge.
Polar plunge.
And cook your brown. How dark do you want it?
I want it pretty dark.
Golden brown.
Browner than golden.
Okay.
My big problem
What's your
Big
problem?
problem.
is burning hot.
Yeah, it's burning hot.
But
I
dude,
know.
wow!
It's called a campfire. So Joe's vlogging.
Pack up the chairs.
Oh, yeah,
Bedtime.
it's nice and cold.
Is it bedtime?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, Joe, stand up. You gotta put your chair away.
Well, the campfire is over.
It was a good supper, wasn't it?
Oh, it's a good supper.
And Dad volunteered to wash dishes.
Bedtime.
All right, and with that, we're going to sign out on this video. I hope you guys enjoyed another peek at meals of the week. Just thinking back, I just don't feel like we had anything overly exciting during this week, but I guess that's how it is. Some weeks you have more exciting food, and other weeks it's pizza bites and brats over the fire. So, all right, I hope that you guys have a great afternoon or evening. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Oh, no.
Sorry. Got it? Whoa. There you go. All right.
Hop up, Joe.